This episode is brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 10% off today by visiting hover.com/butterscotch.
Hey, I'm Paul Stachek. We're here at Fan Expo 2010, and I'm here with co-publisher of DC Comics, Dan Didio.
Correct.
You just corrected me on that, so I want to be professional about that.
That's okay. That's okay. It's my job.
Before I start, because we did just sort of briefly get this on off camera, I wanted just to ask again about this potato chip thing. That's fascinating to me. You like Canadian flavored potato chips?
It's the uniqueness of the flavors.
Right.
And what happens is that the fans here decided that as some, I don't know. First I thought it was a hazing, but actually I think it's a fun little ritual. They bring me all the most strange flavored chips that possible. I mean, I just got a bag of barbecue kangaroo, which was kind of interesting. But the hot dog chips, without a doubt, are the personal favorite of mine.
We have video of you holding those up and enjoying
them. Yes, you do.
Yes,
you do.
Also, what about ketchup chips? That's a weird one I find.
You know what? Actually, I hate to say it, but it sounds a little pedestrian right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying. When you have to go hot dog chips, I've got Worcestershire chips. Pickled onions was probably the worst flavored chip I ever had. We got Szechuan, piri piri. Like I said, the barbecue kangaroo. Yorkshire pudding chips. So we've had a real interesting mix of them. So
awesome.
Okay. It makes for a I don't know, a very long convention, I think, actually.
Let's get down to why you're really here.
Okay, why am I really here?
This should become a chip conversation. DC Comics.
Okay.
The big thing right now for everybody, your competitor especially, is this digital comics push. And you guys just recently released your iPad app.
Right.
How has that changed DC's outlook on comics now?
It hasn't changed DC outlook at all. As a matter of fact, it's just another distribution stream that we're trying to take advantage of. The thing between us as co-publishers, myself and Jim Lee, is that I'm probably focused primarily on the print side of publishing, while Jim is really spearheading a lot of the digital initiatives that are taking place within the company. And at this particular moment, as I like to say, when it comes to digital, just the same way I would say with collected editions and still with the periodicals, it's not one thing replacing another, but more enhancing each other.
Right.
In a position where we are, where we're trying to reach as wide an audience as possible, trying to get our message out as much as possible. We know the strength of what the direct market brings with periodicals. We know what the strength is in the bookstore marketplace with collected editions. Yeah. And now we know what the strength is with digital comics. And like I said, one doesn't replace it all. All it does really is try to get us out to as many people as we can.
Right, which is great. And DC's having a big year now too. You just finished off Darkest Night. Sorry, yeah. Blackest Night, sorry. And now you're going into
Didio.
Hey, listen, I'm trying.
That's okay.
The chips completely threw me out.
I know, that's okay. And you didn't even have one.
I know. What's to look forward to now coming for the rest of the year from DC? What do you guys have coming up?
Well, we got a lot of great stuff planned for this year. I mean, the big thing for us is really what's going on with Batman.
Yep.
We have the return of Bruce Wayne, and ultimately the return of Batman taking place. The start of a book called Batman Incorporated. We have Canada's own David Finch taking on Batman the Dark Knight as a writer-artist, which I think is going to be one of the most exciting new books we're going to have this year. And on top of that, Brightest Day still runs strong, Generation Lost runs strong, Green Lantern runs strong, and we have some interesting new directions for both Superman and Wonder Woman. So all our primary franchises are pretty well taken care of right now, and our goal is to keep that on track, keep the people excited about our key books, and then once we get into the new year, expect some big changes.
Right. And finally, the movie sector is becoming really big for you guys too. You have Green Lantern, the film, coming out.
Correct.
And also there's sort of a big push to now have the Batman 3 out in 2012.
Right.
How you're on the comic side, obviously, but do you guys have any influence on that?
Well, actually, as with the new executive team with DC Entertainment, Jeff Johns is right in the middle of that. So
That's
not only
awesome.
is he leading the direction on so much what we do on the periodical side, he's also heavily involved and acting on DC Entertainment's behalf in regards to how the movies are developed and produced.
Cool. And finally, one quick question. As a Canadian, I have to ask, you worked on ReBoot, apparently.
Yes, I did.
All right, how was that? What did you do on ReBoot? And
I made ReBoot, we go way back. I was the first program exec on ReBoot for ABC.
Right.
I had the distinction of canceling the show when it was on ABC, and then they got revenge, and they hired me as the story editor for the third season.
Nice.
Worked as the story editor for the third season, then stayed with Mainframe Entertainment out of Vancouver.
Cool.
Handling the development, opened up their LA office, worked on that. Shadow Raiders, Little Beasties in the middle.
I remember that.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun stuff, and one of the best experiences of my working career.
Well, besides DC and chips.
Yeah, they didn't give me chips at Mainframe, but we had a lot of other good things.
All right, well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out with us. For everything that you learned about here, including the DC app, which you can get from mobile.butterscotch.com. Check out the full show notes at butterscotch.com. We'll see you soon.
Great.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 10% off today by visiting hover.com/butterscotch.